All right, let's talk SAP CPQ. If you're a developer or an architect who's ready to really dig in and unlock what this platform can do, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to take a guided tour of the SAP CPQ API. Think of it as your key to the entire kingdom of automation and integration.
So here's our map for today's journey. We're going to start with a quick welcome to the API just to get our bearings. Then we'll get our keys by tackling authentication. From there, we'll dive into managing products and customers. After that, it's the main event, creating quotes programmatically. And we'll wrap things up by looking at some seriously powerful advanced scripting and automation. Let's do it.
First things first, let's get oriented. What is the CPQ API really? Well, the best way to think about it is as your personal toolkit. It's packed with everything you need to build custom integrations, automate all those repetitive tasks, and really, truly extend what SAP CPQ is capable of. And here's the most important part. The API is what lets your code talk directly to the CPQ system. So you can forget about manually clicking through a bunch of screens. Instead, you can write scripts to manage your whole product catalog, sync customer data from your CRM, or even create super complex quotes from a totally different app. It is all about automation. I love this slide because it's a great way to picture the API landscape. Just imagine a city that has two main districts. You've got the old established SOAP district. It uses XML, it's been around forever, it's incredibly comprehensive, a real workhorse. And then you have the modern, sleek REST district. It uses lightweight JSON and it's built for speed and flexibility, which is perfect for web apps. You'll probably find yourself working in both of these districts as you build things out. All right, so before we can go exploring in either of those districts, we've got to get through the front door. And that, of course, means we need to talk about authentication. How do we prove to the API who we are so it lets us in? Well, you've actually got a few different types of keys to choose from, and it all depends on your needs. There's the simple basic HTTP authentication, which is, well, basic. Then you've got more secure, modern options like JSON Web Tokens or JWTs. And you've even got stateful sessions for more complex back-and-forth interactions. You just have to pick the right key for the job. Now, while basic auth is an option, for any real-world integration, OAuth 2.0 is absolutely the way to go. It's the industry standard for a reason. The real magic here is that it lets your application get permission to access the API without ever needing to store a user's password. And that is a huge security win. It just shrinks your app's attack surface way down. And getting one of these tokens is actually a pretty straightforward process. It really just boils down to these few steps. First, you register your app inside CPQ Setup, and that gets you a unique client ID and a client secret. Then your app uses those credentials to ask the token endpoint for an access token. If everything looks good, the server sends one back, and you're ready to go. So let's see what this actually looks like in a tool like Postman. Over on the left, you can see we're using that client ID and secret with basic auth. Then on the right, we're sending a post request over to the OAuth 2/token endpoint. And there it is, right in the response, our beautiful access token, ready for us to use in all our other API calls.
All right, we've got our access token, so we are officially in. Now we can start playing with the real building blocks of the entire CPQ system. The APIs for managing your products and your customers.
And the Product Administration API is an absolute workhorse. This SOAP API is your go-to for pretty much anything related to catalog management. But it's not just for, adding a product here and there. Its real power comes from being able to keep your entire CPQ catalog perfectly in sync with an external system like your ERP. Now, check this out. See that little identifier tag? It looks simple, but it's deceptively powerful. This one little tag gives you a ton of flexibility because it lets you tell the API how to find the product you're trying to work with. You can use its part number, its name, or even its internal CPQ ID. Okay, you're going to want to pay close attention to this one. Seriously, understanding how the API handles your data is going to save you so many headaches later on. This table breaks it all down. For example, look at update. You can leave out fields you don't want to change, and it'll preserve the old value. But and this is a big but, if you include a field and leave it empty, the API will wipe out whatever was there before. Knowing these little rules is absolutely critical. And now, it's time for the main event of our tour. We've got our products, we've got our customers in the system, so let's do the thing that CPQ is all about, creating a quote completely from an API call. So to create a new quote, you're going to build an XML payload that looks a lot like this. And you can see it's actually pretty readable, right? You've got your main cart element, and then inside that, you've got a list of items. And for each item, we're just specifying a quantity and the product's part number, which is the catalog code. So the key to success here is just getting your input structure right. Make sure you give it your own external ID so you can track it later. You have to pay close attention to the required fields, like shipping method. If you forget that one, the whole call will fail. And then, of course, all your product details go inside that main items block. And when you make that call, you're going to get one of two responses. On the left is what you want to see, a status of OK, and it even gives you back the brand new quotation number. But if something goes wrong, you'll see what's on the right, a status of NOK, which stands for not OK, and a really helpful error block that tells you exactly what went wrong, like an invalid part number. For our final stop on the tour, let's look beyond the basics and get into the real power tools. This is where you level up from simple integrations to really sophisticated automation, all by using scripting and building out a proper CI/CD pipeline. This right here is a total game changer for developers. Instead of having to write your Python scripts inside the CPQ user interface, you can use the professional tools you already know and love, like VS Code and Git. You manage your code in a repository, and then you use the script API to deploy your changes. This lets you have a modern professional workflow. And here is a fantastic pro tip, straight from the documentation. Now, because the scripting engine is IronPython, you can import .NET libraries like system.link, but you probably shouldn't. Just look at the comparison. The pure Python version on the right is not only more efficient, it's just so much cleaner and more readable. So when you put all of this together, you can build a professional CI/CD pipeline. That stands for continuous integration and continuous delivery. It means you can develop your scripts in Git, automatically push them to a dev environment, run your tests, promote them to QA for users to check out, and then finally deploy to production with total confidence. It makes your deployment so much faster and more reliable. And that's our tour. We've explored the SOAP and REST districts. We figured out how to get our keys with OAuth 2.0. We saw how to manage products and create quotes, and we even peeked at the power tools with advanced scripting. We've given you the map to the city, so the only real question left is, what are you going to build first?